Good evening. You're watching The Last Word with me, Tanima Biswas, and our focus today is on the Tamil Nadu Hooch tragedy. Over 50 people have died after consuming illicit liquor. Over 60 people are still being treated at hospitals in the Kallakurichi district of Tamil Nadu. Families have lost breadwinners, children orphaned in one stroke. In fact, there's one family that we have featured on our channel where 3 children have lost both their parents. Now, this is not the first time that Tamil Nadu has witnessed Hooch-related deaths, but the death toll this time in this incident has shocked everyone in the state. In fact, while hearing a petition, the Madras High Court asked the state government today what action have they taken to curb such sale of illicit liquor, pointing out that this is a matter of people's lives and that the state government cannot just sweep the matter under the carpet. In fact, the High Court referred to an incident from last year in which 22 lives were lost in a similar such tragedy. What's happened since then? The High Court specifically asked, how could the government let this happen one more time? In fact, the High Court has given the Tamil Nadu government time till Wednesday for their response. But the opposition was in no mood to give any extra time to Stalin government. They staged a protest outside the assembly today with AIDMK leaders wearing black in protest, saying they have no faith in the state government's investigation. Chief Minister Stalin, who's under fire, responded to opposition's charges on the floor of the House, saying he's not running away and assured justice to the families. But that brings us to the question we are asking tonight. As Tamil Nadu Hooch deaths mount, who will answer for the body count? Who will take the responsibility? The state government, of course, saying they are doing their job. Investigations continued as per procedure. But what will be, where will the buck stop when it comes to this massive tragedy which has hit the state? In fact, I will be joined by several guests on this. But before I go across to my guests, let me bring in my colleague Sam, who's been tracking this update, who has in fact been reporting on the ground there, the site of the incident. Sam, what is the main demand of the families? I mean, so many families have been shattered by this incident. There are several other people who are still in hospital. Their families are also hoping and praying, of course, that they get well soon. But you've been speaking to the people who've been affected on ground, families who have lost breadwinners. What is their most single demand from the state government now?
One key demand, Tanima, we get to hear from many of these people is that close the liquor shops. We have suffered enough. Let's end with this. Let's not take this to other people. There are families who have lost the couple. The children have lost their parents, mothers, their sons. It's tragic stories at every household. And they say, let not the government sell liquor. It's not their job. Close it. And that addiction leads to demand for illicit liquor, because as the Indian-made foreign liquor prices go up, people from poor communities like this, people living in this village, they say they are easily lured by people who sell illicit liquor. With me, Alagason, who lost his brother-in-law and sister-in-law. இந்த ஊர்ல சகஜமா ஈஸியா பழக்கத்துல கள்ளச்சாராயம் அவைலபிளா இருந்துச்சா?
இருக்குது சார். கண்ண மூடின்னு கிடைக்கும், ஈஸியாகவே கிடைக்கும். நீங்கள் எங்கே வெளியில் எங்கேயும் தேடவே தேவையில்லை. கருணாபுரம்னாவே கள்ளச்சாராயம் தான்.
போலீஸுக்கு தெரியுமா, அதிகாரிகளுக்கு தெரியுமா? அது எல்லாத்துக்குமே
தெரியும் சார். பக்கத்துலேயே இருக்குது, போலீஸ் ஸ்டேஷன் இருக்குது.
சுருக்கமாக உங்களுடைய டிமாண்ட் இல்லை, இங்கே உள்ள மக்களோட டிமாண்ட் இல்லை?
மக்களோட டிமாண்ட் என்னென்னா, கள்ளச்சாராயம் முழுசாக இந்த ஊருக்குள்ளே வரக்கூடாது, கள்ளச்சாராயமே இருக்கவே கூடாது. சாராயன்றது இப்போ பல பேரோட உயிர் பறி போயிடுச்சு. இதுக்கு மேலே அவங்க அரசாங்கம் தான் ஸ்டெப் எடுக்கணும்.
He says illicit liquor was freely available in this village. Police and authorities knew about this, and our only demand is that there should be no place for illicit liquor. That's our singular demand, he says. In fact, he has lost his brother-in-law and sister-in-law, and their children, 3 of them, have become orphans. Tanima.
I can ask one more question to him. You know, if we can get a reaction on ground on what the Madras High Court has told the Stalin government today. The High Court has very clearly said that there was a similar incident last year in which 22 people died, pointedly asking the state government how it could allow such tragedies to take place repeatedly. What do people have to say on ground? Do they feel that the government in a way is prioritizing economics over actually taking care of its own people, that they had an opportunity last year to set everything straight. But even after a year, a similar tragedy, beg your pardon, of a larger magnitude is playing out. What do they have to say about the way the Madras High Court is now seeking, demanding answers from the state government?
சென்னை உயர்நீதிமன்றம் அரசாங்கத்தை கேட்டிருக்காங்க. போன வருஷம் இதே மாதிரி 22 பேர் இறந்தாங்க, இதே மாதிரி கள்ளச்சாராயம் சாப்பிட்டு. நீங்கள் என்ன கற்றுக்கிட்டீங்க, அது நடக்காமல் இருக்கிறதுக்கு என்ன பண்ணியிருக்கீங்கன்னு கேள்வி கேட்குறாங்க. அதை பற்றி நீங்கள் என்ன நினைக்கிறீங்க?
அவங்க வந்து முடிவு எடுத்திருக்காங்க, பட் அரசாங்கம் முடிவு எடுத்திருந்தாலும் இது வந்து தனிப்பட்ட முறையில் வந்து அரசாங்கமே எடுத்து தனியாக செப்பரேட்டாக நடத்துகிற மாதிரி தான் நடக்குது இது. புரியுதுங்களா? ஏன்னா அரசாங்கம் வந்து ஒயின் ஷாப்பில் விற்கிறாங்க. ஒயின் ஷாப்பில் வந்து விலைவாசி அதிகமாக ஏற்றி விற்கிறதால இந்த கள்ளச்சாராயத்துக்கு அடிக்ட் ஆகுறாங்க. இது வெறும் 60 ரூபாயில் கிடைக்குது. 160 ரூபா, 180 ரூபா.
அரசாங்கம் அதை விற்பனை பண்ணலாமா இல்லை நிறுத்தணுமா?
அது ஒட்டு மொத்தமாக நிறுத்தணும். எனக்கு தெரிஞ்சு பாதிக்கப்பட்டவங்கள எங்களை மாதிரி பாதிக்கப்பட்டு எவ்வளோ பேர் கண்ணு தண்ணி விட்டுருக்காங்க. கண்ணீர் வருது எல்லாருக்குமே. மனசாட்சின்னு இருக்குந்தா அந்த கவர்மெண்ட் அரசாங்கம் இதை எடுத்து டோட்டலாகவே க்ளோஸ் பண்ணும்.
Although the government says they are taking steps on the ground, Tanima, he says, just like the government sells liquor officially, even illicit liquor, the way it operates on the ground, looks like even this is done by the government. He says if the government has any conscience, they should right away stop selling liquor.
Right, Sam, thank you so much for joining us with the voices on the ground. In fact, those are the voices that really matter, and that is why we are discussing this issue today, because this seems to be a massive problem now that brewing in the state, and the Stalin government clearly has to answer many questions. Sam, thank you so much for joining us with that. Also, let's take a look at the comprehensive report on this entire issue.
This shed-like structure you see outside this little house is the place where they sold illicit liquor. It's a kind of a outdoor bar joined here to sell and to consume illicit liquor, and telltale signs of illicit liquor having been sold in packets like this. Police have secured at least 200 liters of illicit liquor from this area, and on this side you have a court, local people say, used for the consumers, for those who come to drink here, to sit here and drink. At Karunapuram village, the ground zero of the illicit liquor tragedy, families are shattered. These 3 siblings lost both their daily wage parents. The old grandmothers don't know who would take care of them.
எனக்கு ஒரு உதவி வேணாம். இதுக்கு நெவில் கொடு, கட்டி கொடுங்க. இது படிப்பு செலவுக்கு கொடுங்க. ராத்திரி எனக்கு அப்பா வேணும், அம்மா வேணுங்கிறாங்க. நான் எங்கே போய் தேடி கொண்டாந்து கொடுப்போம்.
உங்க அப்பா இல்லைதாங்க? So sorry. A few houses away, Murugan, a loadman, lost 4 members in his family, including his dad Vijayan. One of the arrested men, an alleged bootlegger, he says, sold illicit liquor from 4 in the morning. Police knew about this but did nothing as they were paid off.
எல்லாத்துக்கும் மாமூல் போகுது, காசு நாங்கள் தரோம், நீங்கள் ஏன்னா போலீஸுக்கே மாமூல் போகுது, நீங்கள் என்ன கேட்குறீங்க சார்? அதான் இருக்குது சார் பக்கத்தில் ஸ்டேஷன். 24 போலீஸ் வருவாங்க. வக்கீல் வீடு எல்லாமே லைனாக, வேறு எங்கேயும் இல்லை, எல்லாம் லைனாக சுற்றி தான் இருக்குது.
The issue reverberated in the assembly, with opposition leader and AIADMK chief EPS demanding Chief Minister MK Stalin's resignation. Stalin hit back, saying the government has ordered strict action and will not spare the guilty.
மக்கள் கொதித்து போயிருக்கின்ற இந்த சம்பவம் குறித்து கூட சட்டமன்றத்தில் பேசுவதற்கு வாய்ப்பளிக்கவில்லை என்றால் சட்டமன்ற உறுப்பினராக தேர்ந்தெடுக்கப்பட்டதற்கு அர்த்தமில்லாமல் போய்விடும்.
அமைச்சர்கள் மட்டுமில்லாமல் உள்துறை செயலாளரையும் டிஜிபியையும் நேரில் செல்ல உத்தரவிட்டிருந்தேன். அவர்களை 2 நாளில் விசாரணை அறிக்கையை கொடுக்க சொல்லியிருக்கிறேன். அந்த அறிக்கை கிடைத்ததும் அதன் மீதான நடவடிக்கைகளை துரிதப்படுத்துவேன் என உறுதி அளிக்கிறேன். நம் அனைவருக்கும் வார்த்தைகளால் விவரிக்க முடியாத அளவிற்கு வேதனையை அளித்துள்ள இந்த துயர சம்பவத்திற்கு பொறுப்பாளர்கள் மீது உரிய நடவடிக்கை மேற்கொள்ளப்பட்டு வருகிறது என்பதை தாங்கள் நன்கு அறிவீர்கள்.
More than 50 dead, and this is the second illicit liquor tragedy under the ruling DMK. The demand seeking MK Stalin's resignation, questioning his competence and control over the police force he heads is getting louder. Pressure is also mounting on the DMK to implement phased closure of liquor shops, something it had promised earlier. At Karunapuram with Suresh, Sam Daniel, Find TV.
Right, that was my colleague Sam Daniel's report, and as we said that we are raising this question as to who takes the onus, who takes the responsibility for this mounting body count in this Hooch tragedy. We will be discussing this today with my guests who are joining me now. S. Muralidharan, who is a political analyst, Kovai Satyan, AIDMK spokesperson, and Yashovardhan Azad, former IPS officer. Thank you all for joining me on the show tonight. First question to you, Mr. Muralidharan. We heard from the families on the ground there. My colleague Sam was talking to them. Families have clearly said, who have been affected, that they want the liquor shops to be shut. Why hasn't it happened yet? Specifically because DMK government has seen 2 such tragedies back to back. Isn't that one of the clear answers, that we should listen to the people and maybe reduce the number of liquor shops, and specifically in some of these areas where there is, everyone knows that there's illicit sale of liquor happening?
Yeah, a little bit of history just to put things in perspective and to understand what's been happening. See, in 1986, the government, I'll not give credit to any of these because this is a making of all the governments been in the ruling Tamil Nadu. So if you look at this, 1986, they shut down toddy, which is made out of palm trees and coconut trees, which is a toxicant, but it's an organic product, and which is still continues. States like Kerala and Goa still continue to export them, and they're doing very well. And this was stopped only to promote the synthetic alcohol, which is manufactured by the breweries and distilleries. Then later in 2003, the government brought an ordinance and monopolized the entire business, saying that we will not let it out to any private entity. The entire business will be run by us, right from purchasing and marketing it in all the outlets. So when this happened, 2 things happened. One is the quality of the product dropped and the prices kept going up. Now, every time when the government needed money, see, they run all these freebies, right? So whenever they keep running these freebies, they run out of money. So whenever they run out of money, they keep increasing the price. So there's an artificial inflation of price. And second, because of this, they started demanding bribes from, let's say, the manufacturers, the brewers, the brand owners, etc. So if a brand owner, let's say XYZ, gives X amount of money per crate, so paid in terms of crates, their product will be there on the shelf. If not, it won't be there. So the brand owners, so there was a normal competition between 2 brands to give the best product as best price. So if there's no such competition, what will happen? So they're not going to really bother about the quality. So because of that, the quality dropped. Prices kept
Mr.
going
Muralidharan,
up.
is the government not aware of the sale of this illicit liquor gangs? I mean, they must be operating for several...
They're aware. They're very
So what's
much
being done
aware.
about it?
So
That's what these families are asking. You can give them as many history lessons as you want, but the main question that they are asking is that what is being done about the sale of this illicit liquor, which everybody knows about as a state government, as state law and order machinery. It's not possible that your policemen on the ground are not aware of who's operating in which area. What's being done about it?
They're aware. So, see, this is another channel. So,
And
a
not
person who
doing
can't
anything?
afford.
They're aware, but
They're not doing it.
much.
That's the point. They're not doing anything. So, they run, see, doing anything in the sense, see, if it's done by somebody XYZ, they can do something about it. This is done by the government, the people in the government, supported by the government. I'll give 2 other instances. There was a superintendent of police who took a voluntary retirement for a simple reason that he felt he will not be able to control this illicit liquor trade. And something like this, whatever which is happening right now, could happen. He took a voluntary retirement somewhere end 2023. And before that, the ADMK government, ADMK party brought up this issue in the assembly, saying that, this needs to stop because this is going out of control. And there was a YouTuber by name Saukku Sankar who exposed the entire Kallakurichi incident, wherever this is happening. And he is behind bar, and they're trying to put him under gundas and keep him for a couple of years inside. So the government is very much aware.
At this point. Yes, Mr. Muralidharan, let me bring in AIDMK, Mr. Kovai Satyan at this point. I know you will probably talk about the protest today and the fact that the Chief Minister, your party has been demanding his resignation on this point. But let me put up another statistics for our viewers on the screens. If I can ask my producers to put up the information that we have collated together of the number of Hooch tragedies across different states over the years, which clearly shows that obviously it's not just one state's problem. If we look at even dry states like Bihar and Gujarat, you've seen the statistics on the screen show you there that 75 people died in Bihar in 2022. In Gujarat, 42 people died because of Hooch tragedy, of Hooch cases. Again in 2021 in Bihar, over nearly 100 people died. So it's not just the problem of one state or one incident alone that we are looking at. Clearly, no party or government has done enough or is doing enough to tackle this issue. What did your party do when they were in power? What has AIDMK actually done in terms of curbing this menace, which has hit, at least over the past 2 years, we have seen Tamil Nadu suffering body blows because of this?
Yeah, to answer your question, even in our manifesto, it was clear that the terminal goal of our party is a complete closure of sale of liquor in the state of Tamil Nadu. It will be done in a phase-by-phase manner. It will not be all done at once.
But the information, you will please make your point, but I just wanted to point out at this juncture that the information on our the statistics that we have collated together shows that it's not just about shutting liquor shops. Dry states like Bihar and Gujarat also have seen a number of deaths because of this.
So there are two entities which we are talking about here. One is an organized sale of liquors, which happens through the cooperative called TASMAC by the government. On the other side, there are miscreants who take law into their own hands and they sell illicit liquor. So there are two aspects to it. The aspect to liquor sale, our ideology and our direction is clear that we want to stop the sale of liquor in the state of Tamil Nadu. It will be done in a phase-by-phase manner. But now what has happened in Tamil Nadu with this incident, this is not an accident. This is a murder by the government itself. Last year, 22 people lost their lives because of this illicit liquor. In the nearby district, this happened in Kallakurichi, the nearby district was Viluppuram. 22 people lost their lives because of this illicit liquor. On 29th March, we gave a representation to the speaker in the assembly to bring a special motion to discuss this. The speaker refused it. There were no action. The same answer by MK Stalin, incompetent chief minister, says it has been transferred to CBCID. Inquiry is going on, the culprits will be punished. Now, what is really happening in Tamil Nadu with respect to the liquor sale and illicit liquor sale? Let me give you a larger understanding. TASMAC, the cooperative, are entitled to sell the liquors and they are entitled to give license for the sale of liquor in Tamil Nadu. Since DMK came to power, more than 1,000 illegal bars started operating because this becomes a money minting business for DMK and the office bearers associated to the party. Every liquor bottle gets 10 rupees or 20 rupees above the MRP and the kickbacks goes directly to the office bearers of DMK till the higher ranks. 1,000 illegal bars, and that minister is behind bars for the last 1 year. This is one thing. The other side, the government and the office bearers indulge into illicit trade of drugs and narcotics, including liquor. Jafar Sadiq, a close associate in DMK and office bearer, was caught with a 2,000 crore smuggling networks across the world. Even today, 8 crores of drugs were seized into the current.
Yes, and
so
also to
everybody,
like
the ruler, the DMK, everybody are partners in crime.
We would like to point out that the DMK is not present.
Goes to everybody.
We did reach out to them, but they did not send a representative to take our questions today. So all these allegations, they should be present actually to answer some of them. There is, of course, an issue there. But to be fair, they need to be also hearing some of the points that you are raising in order to answer that or counter that or at least give their point of view.
Biswas, let me bring all these were not allegations. These are all backed with data, which is there in the public domain, out in open.
Yes,
Just
that
because
may be
DMK
your
is
point of
absent,
view,
I
but
am
we
not
will
making
also need the
baseless
DMK to
allegations.
answer some of these questions as well. They have
They will not answer. They will run
they
away.
have
They will
declined
never
to
take
be a part of the show
responsibility.
today, but
Like the
we
CM
have
who are
reached
not
out to
present in
them.
assembly today to answer.
Let
Only
me
when
bring
we were
in Mr.
evicted, he
Yashovardhan
came.
Azad, who is a former IPS officer, to look at the larger issue. Mr. Azad, you've also seen the data that we have put out in terms of the number of incidents being reported from several other states as well. Illicit liquor gangs, which are in fact selling illicit liquor, are they, according to you, part of organized gangs? And if that is the case, this is an organized crime, then shouldn't they be booked under more stringent laws? What are some of the ways that you can suggest to curb this menace?
No, I mean, that's not the way to start, I would say. This is definitely an organized criminal activity. But the point is, there are three aspects to this issue, and I'm sorry, I differ with most of the things here. Number one, at a criminal level, we have forgotten the most important man in the district. He's called the excise officer. The excise officer is controlled by the collector, where the collector has the power to close all these shops. And mind you, there is a difference. There's a difference between a spurious liquor, which is been sold totally illegally, which needs to be closed, and the Indian manufactured liquor, for which always, as
I'm
Mr.
sorry to interfere here. I'm
Okay,
sorry.
then,
The
I'm
collector
sorry.
of the districts comes out and says the deaths were not because of illicit liquor. The collector was forced to lie in front of the media. That's the status quo in Tamil Nadu today, sir. And
all over is
everybody
the
are
same.
hand in glove with the criminals.
Listen, Mr. Satyan. All over the country, the collectors are doing the same. There's nothing different. That's exactly the point. What I'm saying. The point is, your excise is the money generating. It's like a milked cow. So every government depends on it, and that is why there is a lot of nexus between the government people and these excise contractors. But the problem is, these excise contractors often used to come to us and report that there is a spurious liquor being sold, and that's why that's the time when the excise officer should report to the police to file an FIR and give it, and secondly, tell the collector that you take action against these manufacturers. There are two things which have been done. Therefore, three things should have been done. The collector should have been suspended, you're right, the SP and the excise officer. Number two, the problem is at human level too. These daily laborers who are having this liquor, it costs them 10 to 50 rupees, whereas the manufacturing Indian liquor cost is about 100. Now, this is an ideological issue, whether you can close the shops. You cannot close liquor anywhere. It failed all over the world. In fact, in Bihar, there are maximum hooch deaths only because there's a free supply of liquor. For that matter, it's even in Gujarat. So that is number two. What you need is a kind of an NGO, a protective shield to say what the laborers can do in the evening. What are they going to do instead of drinking? Just tell me. Number three is the administrative setup. The administrative setup is just impossible to manage anything because the collector thinks he's the boss. He doesn't do anything except at the behest of the government. The SP is busy with leak of exams. He's busy with encroachment. He should be busy with liquor. He should be busy with 10,000 other things except crime. The excise officer, who's completely, weighed down by what he cannot do and only makes money, who is going to do this? That's the most serious problem. You see,
right.
in one second, just hold on. There are 14,000 cases in 3 years in that district alone, and there were 10,000 arrests. This is the scale of the problem. So when you look at the issue, you have to look with a very, very serious-minded perspective than just saying that we should close shops and we should do this.
That's right.
Requires a very deeper study and analysis.
There's a deeper rot in the system, as Mr. Yashovardhan Azad is pointing out. I'm unfortunately running out of time, but just about time for everyone to give their quick take. If we limit this discussion only to Tamil Nadu, what's the way forward for the Stalin government to actually tackle this menace, starting with Mr. Muralidharan, then Kovai Satyan and Mr. Azad? 30 seconds for each. Mr. Muralidharan.
Okay. As simple as, removing the monopolistic, nature of the business, ensure it's given to private entities, because the private entities then ensure better price, better product. As long as it's going to be a monopolistic business, which is handled only by the government, it's not going to improve. Because as Mr. Yashwardhan, right? IPS officer said the liquor has to be made affordable for the poor. That means giving that liquor at 50 rupees or 60 rupees, which they can buy. Today, because of the subsequent increases, whenever they felt they didn't have money, the prices have skyrocketed. The poor are not able to afford to buy those liquor. That's why they're
Mr. Kovai Satyan and Mr. Azad, quickly if you come in. We will have very short time though.
As promised by Mr. MK Stalin that if voted to power, not even a single drop of liquor will be available in Tamil Nadu. Ask him to follow whatever he said in the political rallies before the elections.
Mr. Azad, yes, Mr. Azad, please go ahead. We have very less time, Mr. Azad, make your point.
I totally agree with Mr. Muralidharan. It should be in private hands and three individuals. First is the collector, second is the excise officer, and third, the SP should be made accountable, and you will see the results immediately.
All right. Thank you, gentlemen, for joining me on this very important discussion today, and we'll keep our focus on this story on our channel as well. Thank you all for watching this important discussion, and stay tuned to NDTV coming up on the other side. Maria Shakil with a big fight.